But in this story from the New York Post, the White House set a flagging post on Facebook to censor over COVID misinformation. The White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, said Thursday the Biden administration is identifying problematic posts for Facebook to censor because they contain misinformation about COVID-19. Psaki disclosed the government's role in policing social media during the daily press briefing after Surgeon General Vivek Murthy called on companies to purge more pandemic posts. The demand for censorship and Psaki's admission of government involvement follows a series of flip-flops from health officials who contradicted themselves throughout the pandemic on issues such as mask efficacy, as well as censorship of claims that later gained credibility, such as the theory that COVID-19 leaked from a Chinese lab. We are in regular touch with the social media platforms, and those engagements typically happen through members of our senior staff and also members of our COVID-19 team. Given, as Dr. Murthy conveyed, this is a big issue of misinformation, specifically on the pandemic. So this is a problem because they're admitting of government involvement in social media platforms and in freedom of speech. I believe that social media platforms should be public utility. They should be protected under the First Amendment. I don't believe that speech is violence in any way. Speech cannot hurt you. And if you are given misinformation, the right information is always out there. It might not even be as readily available, but if you want to find it, you can find it. Don't trust everything you see at face value. Look into it. Figure it out for yourself. Make your own decision. We talked about this before. But the government coming in and telling these billionaire companies, these companies, what to do and what not to do when it comes to us, the people on their platforms. So who has control over what we say at the end of the day? Is it the U.S. government? Because that's a problem. And even if it goes, because it goes a little different. Okay, because if the power it lies within Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that, well, I don't think they should have absolute power, and I do not believe they should have absolute power on what gets said on their platforms, because that's not it is outgrown. The way that these platforms have outgrown any semblance of what they could have imagined when they started these platforms. They are so pivotal in the discussion, in the dialogue, that they need to be there. And they can I don't believe that they need to be governed super harshly, because people need to have a platform to be able to say what they want to say, and for people to disagree and for people to discuss. So I don't even believe that companies like Twitter or Facebook should have the power to permanently ban people. But they definitely should not give that power to the U.S. government. They should not be in the back pockets of the U.S. government, because it's one of those things where we're going to sit here and say, oh, it's not that bad. You know, they give the power to ban people on social media to the government, and you know they're doing it just to help out. They're doing it just to help out misinformation, and I'm not disagreeing with that. But if it's given, let's say that all this power is given to the president, given to the Congress, given to the Senate. What about when it's not your team in those positions of power? What about when the other people that you don't agree with are running the show? And now all of a sudden they're censoring people that you're aligned with. They're censoring you. How far does it go? So she added, we've increased disinformation research and tracking within the Surgeon General's office. We are flagging problematic posts for Facebook that spread disinformation. Psaki added, it's important to take faster action against harmful posts, and Facebook needs to move more quickly to remove harmful, violative posts. Why? Why is that any of your business? Why can I not say that COVID is a hoax and their vaccines are killing kids? I don't believe that for a second. I have the dart. I am vaccinated. But I'm just saying, why couldn't I say it? People with brain cells in their head are gonna know that I'm an idiot. You know, last night I told I asked a question on Twitter, and I actually tagged Twitter in it about, I told them they were overstepping their boundaries with this when they banned the representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, which is because of this exact thing. They were labeled as misleading. Conspiracy theory endorsing Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene was temporarily suspended from Twitter on Monday for posting misinformation about COVID-19, and critics were angered by the short penalty. The Georgia Republican's account was placed into read-only mode for 12 hours after she suggested vaccines weren't necessary and the coronavirus is not dangerous for non-obese people and those under 65. Here's her tweet. So they banned her, even if it was only for a short amount of time, read-only mode. People are calling for her to be banned permanently, and I don't agree with that in the slightest. Yes, she is ridiculously silly. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She's part of QAnon. She is probably, might be considered insane in some countries. I do believe it's probably for the best that it was a slight suspension. Maybe they'll slap on the wrist. But how far do we let this go?